Waters are fast-moving.
Unlike other big rallies,
Earlier at about 7 a.m. Welcome to #PHVote 2013.
Today on Rappler, the tax department checks the assets of lawmakers tagged in the pork barrel scam. The Justice Secretary asks the Foreign Affairs Department to cancel the passports of 37 people tagged in this scam, including 3 senators. And Germany's Merkel and Francis Hollande discuss U.S. spying allegations.
Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. The Bureau of Internal Revenue, or BIR, is looking into possible tax liabilities of lawmakers implicated in the multi-billion peso pork barrel scam. In September, the Justice Department filed plunder complaints against 38 individuals tagged in a Commission on Audit report that said lawmakers channeled their pork barrel to dubious non-governmental organizations in exchange for kickbacks. The Ombudsman is expected to recommend the filing of cases with the Sandigan Bayan. Tax head Kim Menares says the ongoing probe is limited because they don't have a court order to look into bank accounts. She says they're looking into other assets of these lawmakers. Rappler itself looked at the statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth of several respondents in the plunder complaints and found possible discrepancies between their known sources of income and their declared wealth. The BIR earlier filed tax evasion charges against suspected pork barrel scam mastermind Janet Napoles, her husband, and her daughter. The Justice Department asks the Foreign Affairs Department to cancel the passports of 37 people facing plunder and corruption complaints over the pork barrel scam. They include Senators Jinggoy Estrada, Juan Ponce Enrile, and Bong Revilla. The 3 face plunder complaints over the alleged misuse of their Priority Development Assistance Fund, or PDAF. The list does not include the 38th person facing plunder complaints, alleged mastermind Janet Napoles, whose own passport has been canceled. Justice Secretary Laila de Lima cites national interest in the request. Reacting to the move, Senator Revilla says in a statement, it's ridiculous for this government to resort to cancellation of passports of those they wrongfully charge as part of the pork barrel scam. He says the Ombudsman has not yet determined if there's probable cause to file charges against him and other respondents. The woman in the center of this high-profile corruption scandal, Janet Lim Napoles, is brought to the hospital early Thursday because of pain, nausea, and continuous vomiting. 2 weeks before her scheduled appearance before the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, Napoles is brought to the Southern Luzon Hospital in Laguna, accompanied by security escorts. After tests, she returned to her detention facility. Initial findings show the pain may have been caused by stones.
Ay stabilize at kagad siyang nirelease ng doktor naman din doon at dinala directly back to her detention facility in Fort Santo Domingo at around 3:30 a.m. doon. Sa aking pakiwari ay so nag-stabilize at yung latest vital stats naman niya ay normal naman ulit.
Napoles is currently held for serious illegal detention charges involving her former aide and pork barrel scam whistleblower, Ben Hurloy. Napoles has a petition for bail pending before the Makati Regional Trial Court. On Friday, Loy takes the stand as the prosecution's last witness for the bail plea. Malacanang says it will not act on a Senate resolution urging the executive to realign Senators' pork barrel withheld by the Supreme Court. Budget Secretary Butchabad says the palace will wait for the court to lift the temporary restraining order. He adds, right now our hands are tied. It's a legal question, so we better be on the prudent side and leave that decision to the Supreme Court. On Tuesday, senators approve a resolution initiated by Senate President Franklin Drilon to realign the unreleased pork barrel to help calamity victims. Drilon says the remaining fund is considered abandoned and can be converted into savings, which the president can realign. But House Speaker Sonny Belmonte says this can't happen until the Supreme Court rules it's unconstitutional. Senators wanted to use the realigned pork barrel for the calamity fund, but Abad says the government can still fund relief and rehabilitation efforts for areas affected by recent storms in Luzon, the quake in Central Visayas, and the standoff in Zamboanga City. As Bohol struggles to rebuild itself after the magnitude 7.2 quake, President Benigno Aquino spends the night in the town of Loon to assure residents the province is not in any immediate danger. Aquino left for Bohol Tuesday to visit the hardest-hit towns of Loon, Tubigon, and Sagbayan, and the provincial capital, Tagbilaran City. Aquino says in Filipino, "We decided that the best way to show our belief is to stay here for the night." Aftershocks continue to rock the province. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS, records 3,000 aftershocks and says these would last for 2 to 3 more weeks. PHIVOLCS and the Mines and Geosciences Bureau are also conducting studies to map fault lines in Bohol. Aquino says 20 billion pesos from government savings will be used to fund rehabilitation and relief efforts. A French diplomatic source says German Chancellor Angela Merkel and French President François Hollande will discuss new allegations of U.S. spying in Europe. This comes following reports Washington monitored Merkel's mobile phone. On Wednesday, Merkel called U.S. President Barack Obama to say that if the reports were correct, it amounts to a, quote, breach of trust between international partners. Her spokesman says Merkel unequivocally disapproves of such practices. In response, White House spokesman Jay Carney says the United States is not monitoring and will not monitor the communications of the chancellor. Earlier this week, France and Mexico wanted the U.S. to answer new allegations it tapped millions of phone calls. Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 4, the World Health Organization says at least 1.3 million people died from tuberculosis in 2012. This makes the infectious disease the second deadliest after HIV/AIDS. India accounts for 26% of tuberculosis cases, while China accounts for 12%. While the number of infections dropped by nearly half from 1990 to 2012, a strain of drug-resistant tuberculosis emerges as a threat. At number 5, astronomers detect what is so far the most distant galaxy, which is about 30 billion light years away. The BBC says the system is small, but it turns gas and dust into new stars at a remarkable rate, hundreds of times faster than our own galaxy can. Researchers say the galaxy can shed light on the period immediately after the Big Bang. And at number 10, Instagram comes to the Windows Phone, an app that could change the course of the struggling mobile operating system. Instagram CEO Kevin Systrom announces the photo-sharing app will be available on the Windows Phone 8. Systrom says his company's ultimate goal is to, quote, to bring Instagram to everyone who wants to use it. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. Every story on Rappler has a mood meter, which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page. That crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories that have affected our readers and our viewers the most. These 10 stories on the front page have gotten the most number of votes on their mood meter. If we take a look today, as you can see right off the top, it is a very red day, but we've seen just a short while ago, Apple launches new iPad Air, iPad Mini. They have 45% happy, but even then, 1% angry. Today's story, early morning, Nepal is brought to hospital due to nausea. Interestingly, 11% annoyed and 11% don't care, 19% amused, and 56% angry. The story that's gotten the most number of votes on the mood meter, though, is actually not from the Philippines. If we take a look, India, patience pays when dealing with China. You have 76% angry, that red, leading to the mood of the day. Today, most people are angry. Well, that is Rappler's Newscast for today, Thursday, October 24th, 2013. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.